Okay, let's draw this little kitten. So I start off with a pencil so I can get the general shape in before I commit to my lines with a pen. So I'm going to start with this lovely head, and I usually start with the round circle and then I modify it. The circle just kind of grounds me in where I want to go. But this head shape is pretty kind of triangular. So I'm just kind of getting these shapes in to start. And I do a lot of modifying. Never get it down perfect the first time. In fact, it's never perfect. It's never perfect. We're just aiming for having fun here. Those ears. Kitten ears are quite a bit different than big cat ears. They're so little. We're just really going to focus on getting the kitten look here. And I trust my intuition a lot. You know, to kind of decide where things begin and end. So I'm just getting a feel for where the muzzle is down here. And it's a really small muzzle on a small kitten. I'm just blocking in the shape right now. And I just kind of hesitate a lot and just try to get the feel if I've got the shapes right, if things look all right, if everything's lined up okay. Kind of try to get some lines in here for where the ears are going to be. And, you know, maybe kind of show the bottom of these ears too for now. It helps me get the eye line in to get the, you know, to get these, to see where the bottom of the ears is. And I get shapes going kind of in the air before I put them on paper sometimes too. And I'm getting these shapes down. My hand's a little shaky. I'm getting these shapes down, but I won't necessarily commit to these exact shapes. This is just to get the idea of where the eyes go. Because in order to keep it loose and free and full of life, I don't want to get things stiff. I just want to kind of get the general shape right now. Feeling like that nose is up a little bit too high. I'll show you what I mean by using intuition. So the corner of those eyes is really important. So when I use my intuition, I kind of, I'll kind of feel for the angle there too, but I just kind of trust myself. I feel that that nose was first a bit too high. Down here is too low. I'm just kind of trying to get the feel for it. And I'm feeling like maybe down here is about right. You can also measure too. It's really good to get to trust your gut though, to trust that intuitive process. And that's what I did here. I just got the feel for where it felt that nose should go. And again, this is the pencil stage, so I need to remember that I'm not getting too detailed in this stage. Just want to get the general shape. Light pencil lines, and I'll lighten some of these lines up too before I put the ink down. Still working on the shape of the kitten's face. And this leg comes down from the middle of the nose. This one comes down from just inside the corner of this eye. So just inside here. I'm not going to put the bottom of the legs on yet. I just want to get the feel for where they come down from. This one comes down about an eye width over from the eye. And I just kind of like to get a really fluid line in there because I want to keep that lively look instead of get that stiff look. We continue down over here from the top of the head. And just get the feel for where that next leg goes. I like the swoop. I just want to make sure my swoop is in the right place. I feel like it is. I'm intuitively kind of feeling about where it is under the chin, and it's going to end up here. And then I'm going to get that foot in there. I've got a line for the belly that comes from about here. I'm just going to feel my line out before I draw it. Just get the flow of it. So up like about like that, and then we'll get rid of this here. I do a lot of fixing. And this paw, again, I'm going to get the intuitive feel in the air. It's slightly down from this one. I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to get the feel of it. And it's at a bit of an angle. And I don't want to worry about exactness, because when I start worrying about exactness, that's when I lose the loose, fluid, lively look. And this paw, again, is down a little from this one. And again, just get that loose, lively feel. Kind of feel like I block things in pretty good. There is a paw hiding back here. You know, that's kind of where the this back leg that goes with this one comes down. So, I kind of got it blocked in nice. I'm just going to get rid of some of these extra lines. Not worrying too much about it though. You know, because I will get rid of some after the ink probably too. Not always. Sometimes I find that ink just really covers the pencil lines well, and sometimes I leave them just because they add tone. So I'm just going to go over my lines again a little bit more confidently now. Get that tail up. I'm not going to worry about continuing the tail right up, because the tip of the, I find if I make the picture so the tip of the tail actually is in the picture too, it draws the eye up to that instead of focusing on here where we want to focus. Okay, so I'm looking at the kitten's face, and I'm just, you know, making a few repairs to this base drawing. So I'll speed it up here. Okay, now that I have the shape blocked in the way I like it, I have lightened up the pen lines. or sorry, I've lightened up the pencil lines because sometimes it's hard to put the pen over top of dark pencil lines. So now I'm going to start putting the pen lines in. Now, let's see. Noticed I lifted the paws, all the paws up a little bit. I did lots of repairing, lots of repairing. And please enjoy that stage. Please enjoy the repairing stage. I get my shape blocked in and then I repair. And I find actually that is the most relaxing stage of all. So please enjoy that stage. Don't feel bad doing repairs. It's part of the process. Let's get some pen lines in. So I'm going to follow my pencil lines, but not exactly. I'm going to follow my pencil lines with a kind of a loose swooping motion in most cases, maybe a little tighter in others. But I am committed to them, but I'm not. So for that reason, it ends up being more loose. If I were to follow them to a T exactly and worry about staying on the exact line, then I'm going to end up with a stiff and lifeless drawing. And I usually start with the ears. And see, sometimes it is hard to go over top of that pencil, so... but that's okay, you just do your best. Give this pen a... There we go, I just needed to warm the pen up. And the eyes, I like to get the eyes done first. And I'm a little more crucial with the eyes. These lines, these corner lines are really important. They're one of the most important parts of the lines, of the eye lines. And then usually I like to do my swoop, the really important swoops in the air first, because just gives me confidence to know that I'm doing the right thing and not worrying if they're exactly perfect. See, that one's got a bit of a bump in it, but it's not going to matter in the end. It was just that my hand was at an awkward angle. So hand angle is really important. I have to have it at a certain angle to do this video, but when I'm not doing a video, I'm turning my paper a lot. But it just makes it too hard to do a good tutorial if I'm always turning the paper. But I'm just learning this tutorial thing, so we'll get there. And again, this line down here might be a little more tight, you know, following more exactly there. And when you do the second eye, don't always go by what the first eye looks like, because, you know, to a certain extent, but you got to just do what feels right, what feels good for the eye. So we don't ever worry about the eyes exactly matching, because they don't. Like cats can be blinking or opening one eye way wider. They can be scrunching up their face somehow. It can be a different angle. And if you worry about making the eyes exactly the same, that again is when you're going to run into having a stiff and lifeless drawing, because you're more focused on perfection than you are on just that loose, beautiful character. So the eyes are in. I'm happy that the eyes are in, because that is the most crucial part for me anyways, to get as correct as I want it to anyhow. Tabby stripes. I usually move on to some tabby stripes right away, because they, you know, they're just one of my most favorite parts of drawing cats. And you can really add expression and character by getting the tabby stripes right. So notice I'm just putting light lines in so far. Quick swoops. I love paws. I go over these paw lines quite a bit, just to, you know, it helps get some life in there and make it, you know, makes it look a little shaggy or more kitten-like. Let's get all these lines done now. The tail is a little whip on a kitten. And the nose is somewhat harp-shaped, but you don't actually have to get that in there, you know. Triangles for noses are awesome. You don't have to make a big deal over noses. I got that line a little bumpy and thick, but that's okay. We won't worry about it, because often I end up thickening these lines anyway. So when you're beginning, getting a line down that doesn't look right can be devastating sometimes to beginners. But please don't be devastated by it, because you'll see as I go along that a lot of these mistakes I make at the beginning are going to be covered up and they'll actually become part of the character of the drawing. Again, I'm at an awkward angle here for me. So I'm doing my best. It's not required that you leave a highlight in the eye. I like it, but what I would suggest is try it both ways and see what works for you. Little kitten eyes are pretty dark. That's what I find anyways. They're different than big cat eyes. They are pretty dark. I'm going to darken them up a bit more, but for now I just want the pupils. And I got that line around there a little rough, but again, you'll see that in the end that doesn't matter. You might also have the nose down a little bit farther than in the photo, but it's not a big deal. If you're really worried about it looking like that exact kitten, you can measure really crucially, but I find that usually it ends up doing so anyways. I might be able to correct that by bringing the eyes down a little bit. You know, making the eyes a bit bigger, because I'm going to darken them up anyways. But I'm not too worried about it. This paw is a little bit long from here to here, but again, that's okay too, because the paw could be turned a bit and it would appear longer if it was turned a bit. So there are those things that, those compensating things that you can take into consideration. So I'm going to speed up here again. I'm going to do a time lapse here while I thicken up some of my lines. Get this drawing finished. Let's finish up here now. So I like a lot of things about this drawing. There's some things that I'm not particularly happy with, and that's kind of always the way it's going to be, because your best one is always your next one. The top of the head, I feel like I got too much dark inside this ear, and I wish I would have left a little more light along here. The top of the head, I find, is the most difficult part of this kitten pose. For me. You notice I've really thickened up the lines with this pen. and whisker spots. Keep in mind when you're doing whisker spots that they are actually helping shape the face of the muzzle, shape of the muzzle. They're helping shape the muzzle is what I'm trying to say. So they kind of go around that curve. You know, the line of whisker spots kind of go around the curve of the muzzle. And then when it comes to getting whiskers in, just quick flicks. Don't worry about if they're all going in the same direction. Ideally, you know, you want them kind of full of life and off in crazy directions. And some would argue that this kitten has white whiskers, but we're not going for total realism when it comes to colors in a drawing like this. If you are working in a different medium and you want to get your colors exactly right, still, this style of drawing, you're going to learn so much about the base drawing that it's going to contribute to your overall success in any type of drawing or painting. It's an interpretation. Kind of gave a little bit of a hint of kitten claws here. I love toes. I love kitten toes. I think I captured that wobbly kitten look. I see one kind of mistake here. I got the belly going across here, and this paw should actually be in front of the belly, but we can correct that. You know, it's not going to be perfect. But I really straightened up that belly line and kind of got rid of that paw. But that's okay. It's still a learning experience. It'll never be perfect. I learn while I'm teaching you. So if you want to see more, I hope you like this little kitten sketch. And if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.